I'm very well, thank you. How are you? Yep. Yeah, I had a good week. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Hold on one sec. Yep. Okay, so I got 79 points, which was obviously a decent score this week. It got me up to 135k from 260k. So yeah, a decent green arrow. Yeah, Cash and obviously Goal Machine Taylor,
Hmm.
who came in for my combined three other defenders who I started. But I actually benched Burn. Actually, obviously I have Udogi and Gabriel who
Hmm.
both scored zero. Expected them both to play. Yeah, Burn came in for you, Gabriel, I guess,
Yeah.
and then Taylor came in. Obviously with the 6 points was nice. Cash getting five, decent. Unfortunately got that yellow card, but yeah, the full mid return, which is nice. Haven't had that
Yeah.
in a while
Nice.
with Diaby getting a nice haul. Son Salah last minute goal, which I was obviously pretty thankful for. I was thinking, Christ, this is going to go badly. But yeah, that was good. And then Madison still chipping in. And then obviously still owning Haaland.
Yeah.
His EO was around 80-ish percent for me around my rank. So yeah, benefited from that still. And yeah, Watkins and Alvarez. Unluckily blanking, I suppose. Watkins
Mm.
certainly. But yeah,
Yeah.
pleased enough.
Chances.
I only did. It was Anderson, the 4.5 mid from Newcastle to Nakamba in the end. So I was going to do. Um, I think I was going to get Simicast and Saka. I think. Or actually, no,
Yeah.
not Simicast. It was going to be Branthwaite,
Oh, that was
the
right.
really cheap cheapo for Udogi,
Hmm.
and then Madison up to Saka. Which I mean, Everton got a clean sheet. He would have come in. Saka got his assist pretty much the same as Madison. So, like, I probably should have done it, but I haven't. So now I still have two free transfers this week.
I
And I've
know.
got issues in that defense to sort out, I guess.
It was juicy, juicy, juicy. I had just as much as good as your green arrow was, like it couldn't have gone much worse for me. So I'd already taken that -4 on the Sunday, and I've been saying to you in the lead up to the week, oh, if Udogi's out, I haven't got a playing bench. I've still got Botman and Bell. I'll just get Saliba. I'm sure he'll pay off the -4. But I fancied Udogi to do away all right against Crystal Palace, and maybe it was worth it. And then it was like, I don't know, it was like 15 minutes past the deadline, wasn't it, that he wasn't in the squad, and I was like,
Yep.
I just felt at that point I was like, I'm gonna have a bad game week this week, and
You
it
got trolled by a picture
and
saying he's got off the bus,
oh, I
didn't you?
did, yeah, I know, I just wasn't as thorough in my research as I could have been to find out. So yeah, that was the first big check mark, and I was like, oh, and then the proverbial hit the fan, didn't it? On I think the surprise. So I took out Son, Mwembo, and Morris, who collectively scored. I think it was 28 points or something like that. And I brought in Bowen, Watkins, and Gordon, who scored six. And it,
Oof.
and the -4. So I've worked out, which it's just good to know these things, isn't it? Because then it might make other people feel better. I'm like 21 points down just off last week. So I would have ended if I'd done nothing. I would have had 82 points this week, which is shocking. And if I had done nothing, I'd be. I think it's 800,000 places higher up. So it was pretty bad.
Oh
It
yeah,
was pretty bad. And
if that had happened to me, I would have been raging.
yeah, I just
Um,
and I
yeah,
don't.
you took it all right.
I just don't. Yeah, well, it's only FPL. I kind of think that the moves I made, I'd like make again. It's
Yeah,
just
it made
like
sense. Yeah.
it's just like a really bad outcome. Like I feel that Son is obviously a good pick, and it was a risk going away from him. But Bowen and Watkins probably two better players than Son and Morris, and Moemba had bad fixtures. And the fact that he hauled it away at Chelsea, I was just like, oh, are you kidding me? I had him for 4 weeks, and
And
he
their
didn't do
defense has
that.
on paper been all
Yeah,
right this season as well, Chelsea.
I
So
know.
yeah,
I couldn't believe it. And just
Brentford have their number.
yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
And like, I don't mind obviously the assist and then seeing the goal. Did you see it? He just like walked
Oh
it in
yeah,
the
yeah, of
last
course.
minute. I was just like,
Mm.
oh man. So anyway, but it is what it is, and it's a long season, but it's just such a setback. 21 points is huge. It's like a third of my total points for that week. It's a bit shit, really.
Yeah, where would 800,000 places have got
Oh,
you?
it would be like 600k. which
Okay.
even still
Yeah.
is not that high, but it just felt like it was. Yeah, the writing was on the wall. I just felt like as soon as Udogi was benched, I was like, this feels like not in squad. I was like, it's a bad week coming up.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
was not
bad week
feeling it at
coming
that
up.
point, but then as soon as I was thinking, oh god, that means Son and Madison are going to blank on a Friday night, and I'm going to
Oh
be down three
yeah,
players with all three blanks. And I was, screaming when they actually got something. I was like, thank God. Um, yeah, so it was actually an okay Friday night
yeah,
fixture in the end, with
yeah,
obviously Son and Madison doing stuff.
yeah. It'd be interesting. I'm gonna hold like the moves I've made for like 2 or 3 weeks to see if it paid off, because I made them with long term in mind. So yeah, we'll just see if not having Saka rather than Son is pain basically. All right. Well, on that theme, should we move on and talk about Spurs? Because you came close to getting rid of one of them last week to get Saka in. I did get rid of Son in the end, and a lot of people flagging their fixtures as being difficult, but they're playing so well at the moment.
Yeah, so obviously it's difficult to justify selling a team who's obviously at the top of the Premier League. Yeah, good form. Obviously their fixtures do turn, but they seem to do well on the counter attack in these sort of big games. So yeah, the next 6 are obviously Chelsea at home this week, Wolves away, which probably better than it was considering Neto's going to be out, so the defense should be fine. Yeah, Villa at home is obviously a tough fixture. They're scoring a lot. Man City away, obviously tough. West Ham at home, they've been scoring well recently, and then Newcastle home as well. So that's the next 6 up to the middle of December. So yeah, it's pretty bad on paper. It's up there with like sort of Chelsea's fixtures at the moment, which are pretty dire as well. So but Son has got 78 points, which is second of all mids. Like Madison's got 62 points, which is the 5th of all mids. So those two are continuing to perform week in, week out. Yeah, game week 4 stats for Son, or well, his points so far have been 22, 14, 7, 3, 14, 10. So he's got the form. And his game week 4 to 10 stats is non-penalty XG of 3.98, which is second to only Haaland at the moment. So yeah, it doesn't really seem to matter the fixture. Yeah, still no pens for Spurs, so we still haven't sort of figured that one out. Considering you can get a penalty in pretty much any game, and a player who's not done much can still come away with a return. So yeah, we assume Son is going to be on them. He took most of them when Kane wasn't in the team. So yeah, 23 shots, was just third only behind Rashford and Haaland for mids and forwards. 7 big chances, 10 key passes, 3 big chances created. So his stats are all decent for Son. Yeah, I would like to keep him if I can. He is obviously a cash cow to get other players to get up to like possibly Trippier, but maybe the time's passed on people like him. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do with them. If I was going to sell any of them, it'll be Madison, because Madison has gone. His stats are 7.192.696 for his points.
That's still good returns, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. XG of 1.55, 20 shots. So there's only like 3 behind Son himself. 2 big chances himself, 22 key passes, 4 big chances created, an XG of 1.47. So obviously his expected assist is much higher than Son's, but yeah, he's getting goals as well. It has been so. Yeah, the results versus tougher teams. So they played Man United and they won 2-0 with the Son and Madison blank. They played Arsenal with the 2-2, which was quite recently, with 14 points for Son, 9 for Madison. So that's obviously a tough fixture, and they've still returned. Against Liverpool, they won 2-1 as well, with that controversial Diaz goal ruled out. 7 for Son, and then 2 for Madison. Madison blanked in that, but Son has still got a return. So good results from both home and away. Chelsea at home could be a decent fixture for them. Chelsea have not looked great recently. So I don't believe they're a must sell, considering I've still got them. Most people probably don't have 3 of them still. But I think, yeah, if I'm going to sell any, it's probably Madison for someone cheaper. Udogi, obviously still an issue, but I don't know what to do with him at the moment. I think he's going to be fit, but yeah, I guess we'll see. But yeah, just for anyone's teams who's thinking of selling, I think you don't have to, but you can sell someone like Madison.
Yeah, I think while they're getting points, they're so difficult to sell, and because neither of them are blanked in the last 2, it seems even more like ridiculous to sell them. And
Bromo just got a haul against Chelsea. Why can't Spurs do it, who are top of the league?
Yeah, I mean Chelsea are interesting like away, because when I was looking at the Newcastle fixtures, they're going up to St James's Park, so I was looking at how good they are defensively. They've actually only conceded 4 goals away from home this season, and that's the second best record in the league. So, I expect it to be quite tight in that game. But yeah, because Son and Maddison are like the main source of their goals, I do expect them to be involved. And yeah, unless there's someone you really want to get in replace of them who you think is better value, I just think Son and Maddison at the moment, until they've gone on a bit of a run of not returning, there's no real reason to get rid of them. They're both decent prices, and neither of them haven't got European football. They haven't got any midweek distractions, so no, I think they're good.
Yeah, I think that Liverpool game and then the Arsenal game just proved that they're both worth considering, still in tougher games and tougher fixture swings. So yeah,
no, absolutely no. No real plans to sell. But the Udogie one's interesting. So obviously it was late that he got left out of the squad. You and I have still got him. I think Spurs still look okay from a defensive point of view, and his price for me hasn't gone up too much. Are you thinking? I suppose it obviously depends. It's very much injury dependent. His ownership's quite high now. Are you looking at replacements for him if he looks like he's out this weekend?
Yeah. So apparently it was muscle injury / tightness.
Okay.
So tightness, I suppose, is probably not that bad. Apparently it was a late fitness test for the what was the last game?
Crystal Palace away.
Crystal Palace, yeah. So it was a late fitness test for that one. So I assume he must now be fit and ready to go. I think. Wait for a press conference on him, I guess. See if there's any training pictures if he's with the team. But yeah, he's obviously at 17% ownership now. He's at 4.8 million. I got him at I think he's 4.9 actually. I got him at 4.5. So I've got quite a bit of value in him. So that's something to consider if you got him early. But I think otherwise, obviously with the fixtures, you'd probably expect them to concede a few goals. I mean, their defense has been decent, but you're not expecting clean sheets as much. And if he's not going to be 100% fit, then yeah, he probably is a sell.
Yeah, I think if he is injured and you're looking for replacements, it wouldn't be like a bad move to get Porro in, because we've been talking Porro up, and like Spurs' defense is still good. I think like not having midweek football, like I mentioned a minute ago, is a big factor for them. His numbers obviously better than Udogie. He's been involved, and we've talked about there's no real reason to switch between the two. But like if Udogie's injured, maybe that's like an opportunity to do it really.
Well, I mean, Davis, his replacement, got injured in that game in the first half in the Crystal Palace game, so I guess he's still out. I don't actually know his situation, but Emerson Royale obviously had to come in for the left side, which is obviously out of his position. So I don't know if that's going to make them worse defensively if one of them, the players, is not used to playing there. And they don't really have any other options out there, so they're probably going to have to play. So I mean, Dyer maybe, he's been a bit of an outcast, could possibly come in.
Fill in there.
Yeah. So
and I suppose their fixtures don't really look like clean sheet fixtures as much. So maybe
they don't. The Wolves away game probably it could be with Neto out. I expect them to lose a lot of their creativity, so that one could be fine. The Chelsea game I think possibly could be a clean sheet. And then Villa, Man City, certainly not, I wouldn't think. No. But West Ham at home, maybe. Yeah.
So no, I agree. There's like maybe 2/3 in sort of the next 5 that could be. So it could be worth investing in. All right, let's change the focus a little bit. I wanted to talk about Newcastle. They've got bit of a bad fixture swing happening to them. A lot of people have their defensive assets, maybe multiples. You've got Burn. I know lots of people obviously got Trippier. We've dodged him so far. Their fixture's about to change. So they've got Arsenal at home this weekend. Bournemouth away is their juicy fixture the week after that, and then they've got back-to-back home games against Chelsea, Man United before being away against Everton and Tottenham. So a bit of a mixed bag in there, because I'd say the Bournemouth and Everton away games look good. But obviously there's some tough tests coming to the St James's Park. But thinking about how they've been this season against the top sides, or even just their home form, I was having a look at what their numbers were. So they've had 5 home games in the league this season. They've won 4 of them. They lost that one against Poole, which was, again, they probably should have won, really, with Liverpool having I think was it Van Dijk who got sent off and they scored those 2 late goals.
Yeah.
They also won in the Carabao Cup against Man City in the last round, and they obviously play away against United tonight in the Carabao Cup.
Was it clean sheet against City at home?
I think it might have been. Yeah, I think it was one of the few times City haven't scored, and I think it was one of the games that Rodri wasn't out. And their numbers are fantastic still in terms of their goals scored. So 13 scored at home, 3 conceded. So they are very good at home, and we know that from last season and into this. But the only thing that's looking like it's a bit of a problem for the moment is all the injuries. Obviously, we've got Botman, it seems like, who was always coming back like next week, is now out for the long term.
Yeah.
Murphy's injured, Anderson, Barnes, Tonali's obviously out with his ban, Isaac. So the fact that they haven't got another striker backup means Wilson is probably going to play the Premier League games, I guess, and the must-win Champions League games. So he's going to be crazy rotated. Joe Linton's going to have to probably come in. So I kind of think their attack suffers as a result of this.
They did look tired last game as well.
Yeah, against Wolves. It's not a game I saw or even seen the highlights of, but I obviously got Gordon in thinking, they've still got some good fixtures. They are good at home. Their attacking numbers are good, and he's a cheap enabler. It'll be interesting to see how they line up tonight. I'm kind of expecting now that Gordon is the only player in there, basically in their front three, who's been, fairly secure of minutes. Looks like he'll hold his position down because there's no one else to replace him. So from a minutes point of view,
hopefully he gets rested tonight.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how much weight they put on this game. Like if they really want to progress in the Carabao Cup, or because of their commitment in the Champions League, they'd rather bin off all the extra fixtures. Does that mean and rotate a lot?
It feels smart. I think they would rotate tonight. I think they're doing well enough in the Champions League, and they've looked good. Yeah. In that group, that they should prioritize that over a Carabao Cup for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But the games they've got coming up are tough. So Arsenal have only conceded 2 goals away from home this season. That's the best record, and have scored 8. That's the 6th best record. Chelsea, like I mentioned a minute ago, they're the 2nd best defensive record, or 2nd best defense on the road this season. Which surprised me. They've only conceded 4 away from home. They scored 7. Man United, they conceded 6 away, which is the 6th best. So the fact that sort of the next 3 teams they welcome St James's Park all feature within the top 6 best away defensive records in the league this season doesn't bode well for Newcastle attackers. So yeah, yay for Gordon. But maybe he'll get big points in that Bournemouth game, and
it'll be Newcastle's XG I think is the top of all teams, right? Still,
exactly. So yeah, it'll be a real test of Newcastle's XG against these teams is XGC. I kind of think the home factor plays a big part for Newcastle as well. They are so good at home, and I looked at that Wolves game, just like you said, they didn't seem like their performance was very good, but their numbers in it were not bad. So their next expected goals conceded of 1 against Wolves. The season average per game is 1.1, so it was pretty aligned with what they would normally do, and they had an XG of 2.1 versus Wolves, and their season average per game is 2.2, which is the highest in the league. So they were pretty much bang on what their per game averages have been this season. So obviously they drop points in that one, but yeah, even though the fixtures are rough, I kind of think that there's returns to be had there. Although with neither of us are Trippier owners, but what would you be thinking? Would you be thinking this is the time to take him out, or do you think that based on how good he's been, he's a long-term hold at this point?
Well, I was thinking it just in my team, and just I was going to sell Burn, just because I think Udogie's going to be fit, and I kind of want to keep him still. And then Gabriel, I obviously no idea, but then Burn just seemed like the one who was the right price to get on to someone like Tsimikas. And with their fixtures swinging, I don't like the Botman's still out. Lascelles is obviously nowhere near as good as him, and they looked leggy, and these fixtures seem to be catching up with them a bit. Obviously, that was maybe the first game that they've looked a bit worse. So I guess we'll just see how it continues. Obviously, they're fit athletes, I suppose, and they should be able to just do 2 games a week. But
when they haven't got the squad depth,
I guess we'll see. No, they don't. Obviously Lascelles coming in, but past that, there isn't much, is there? There's Dummett and people that you'd expect those sort of players
Yeah.
to play tonight, I think. And maybe even Gordon. There isn't anyone else on that side, is there? So probably
No.
Gordon will play. Anderson was obviously a depth thing, and he's
Yeah.
out for ages as well. So, they're probably going to have to get some pieces in January too, aren't they? I think.
Yeah, I think it's a real good test coming up really for just their squad really and how good the deepest squad is, because obviously they want to progress in the Champions League. They've got they've got tough games coming up there and in the league. So I think it's almost like wait and see, because the assets so far have been really good, but it's just a word of warning that they are getting and I think I've probably underestimated that this season for sure. Like, I haven't been able to watch as many full games as I'd like to watch, but teams like West Ham, Brighton seem to be suffering from playing Thursday, Sunday, and the performances aren't that consistent. We'll talk about Brighton and West Ham in a bit. And Villa don't really seem to have that, or haven't had that happen to them just yet.
No, Emery's pretty good at that. He's been the master of the Thursday, Sunday sort of thing, hasn't he? He's obviously won that
Europa League
a lot of times. So I think they're sort of dealing with it. And their squad is pretty good, haven't they? They got like Tielemans and stuff like that on the bench.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got teams like Spurs, who obviously would normally have European commitments, haven't got it. And maybe even a team like Brentford, like there's players in that team that are good fantasy assets this season, and they're not having to play midweek games, and they're just outside of that sort of like top half.
Speaking of like Brentford, Abramov's like their fixtures are not that bad.
Yeah, I know they're all
why
right.
you sort of sold him.
Obviously. I know.
Yeah.
They look. I just kind of thought that Chelsea game was rough, and then they've got West Ham this week, which is not bad. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's also in part because I'd had him for 4 weeks, and 3 of those weeks had been really good fixtures, and he hadn't returned, and I was just thinking, well, maybe. And I was looking at obviously that in that whole time Bowen was doing well. But what have they got? They got West Ham, and then they got Liverpool, then they've got Arsenal, and then after that they've got Luton, Brighton, Sheffield United, Villa, and then they've got a blank. So they're a little mixed.
Yeah.
All right. Who do we want to chit chat about next? Should we talk about West Ham, because I just mentioned them there?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So the title of this bit, we got West Ham struggles. Obviously, the last game wasn't particularly good for them. Obviously, their fixtures up until December are good, and we've obviously been looking at to get doubles and maybe triple ups on them. So obviously Brentford this week away, then they got Forest at home, Burnley away, Crystal Palace home, Spurs away, Fulham away, and then Wolves at home up until 17th of December. Alvarez and Paqueta both on 5 yellows, so they're both going to miss game week 11, which is obviously the two big key factors from their team. Obviously, Souček can come in. I guess Kudus will definitely play. Antonio will probably definitely have to play again. And then I guess Bowen. So one clean sheet all season is all they've had. Conceded to Everton, Luton, Bournemouth. Like, they're the 4th worst expected goals conceded in the league of 19.3. And they've only Luton, Sheffield United, and Bournemouth are worse in the expected goals conceded. So struggles against low block teams, teams that will let kind of like West Ham have the ball. In games like that, they've had a 1-2 win, 2-1 win versus Luton away, a 2-0 win versus Sheffield United, and then a 1-0 loss last week versus Everton. So they've been okay, I guess, but they're not blowing teams away against these sort of low blocker teams. Bowen, obviously everyone's talking about him. 20% owned, 7.4 million. Usually think he's going to be about 8 million like he was last season, but had that sort of price decrease, didn't he? 9, 2, 12, 7, 2, 7, 9, 2, 8, 2. So it's obviously decent. Only like 3, 4 blanks in there or something. So he's done all right. Not blanked away from home all season, so 9, 12, 7, 7, and 8.
He'll do it this weekend now.
Really
I've got
good.
him. I'm absolutely convinced there's a blank coming up this weekend as well.
It's going to break that streak, isn't he? Obviously, against Everton, he had a 0.37 XG, 1 big chance, 1 key pass, 0 big chances created, an XA of 0.05 and 4 shots. So, he is very much the sort of attacking winger, I suppose. Now he's trying to get the goals. He's not creating much, if anything at all. His stats from game week 4 to 10 is an XG of 2.26, 5 big chances of 19 shots, an XA of 0.43, 2 key passes, and 1 big chance created again. not creating much himself. So seems to be the goal threat. His stats are around like 5th to 8th for basically all mids, for all metrics for mids, and his assist stats drop off considerably in the rankings. So another reason for their struggles, Antonio. He's their starting striker, and he's been pretty woeful. So 32 points for him puts him 15th of all forwards.
Wow.
He's had 2 goals and 0 assists across the season. His game week 4 to 10 stats, he's had 3 shots in 6 weeks, 39th for forwards, which is incredible. Broja, who's had 1 appearance. Woodrow, I've got question marks who. Duran, who's Villa's backup. Jimenez, who's obviously completely washed. Mateta, Iwani, who's been injured for ages now, all have more shots than him in that time. An XG of 0.22 in 6 weeks. That's 1 big chance. 3 key passes, 1 big chance created, an XG of 0.81. So he's offering basically nothing. Bowen's trying to do everything from like the right side, be the goal threat, and they're sort of trying to create, and like it's sort of like different to what he should be doing, I suppose. Where he should be sort of supplying Antonio as the striker. He's not passing anything. I don't know why Ings hasn't had a shot at starting a game.
Because I don't think Bowen's is effective when he's played through the middle. He needs like a forward so he can play wide.
Exactly. So he's talked about putting Bowen in the middle as well, and he hasn't really done it. He's done it like maybe 1 game, I think, in the Europa. So like I don't know why he just keeps holding on to Antonio to being a good asset, and he's just not. So these fixtures all are good for them on paper, but possibly not good for them as a team when they like to counterattack with Bowen. So for me at the moment, I think I'm probably fine with not getting Bowen. I think their defense has obviously not been great, but I have Areola, so I'm not looking at someone like Kufal as like a replacement for Udogi or Burn or whoever. I'm not really looking. I don't want to double up there because their defense has been that bad. So I think they can concede in pretty much all of these games. So
it's such a shame because Areola just seemed like a gift, and I feel like we got him because he was a good price and their fixtures are good, but I just don't feel like I can rely on him, and now you're kind of stuck with him because his price is so low and you want to make a goalkeeper transfer.
I don't really care about that. Like he's probably going to make some saves, and hopefully he'll get a clean sheet every once in a while. Like he's cheap, you'll just chuck him in. But like I'm not gonna be getting a Kufal or someone like that to double up. That's just not happening.
No, I know. I don't know. I feel like I haven't watched enough of West Ham this season to get like a good read on what they're like. But the fact that like Bowen's returns were good made me feel like, you know, he seemed like a safe bet, and their fixtures were good, so it didn't seem like much of a risk. So, you know, I'm definitely going to give them until I think they've got Burnley away in game week 13. They've got Brentford away, Forest at home, Burnley away, and they've even got Crystal Palace at home. So, you know, there's a good chunk of 4 fixtures there, and I kind of think he will deliver in those games. So
his goal before, I think it was the game before last.
The Villa one was a joke, wasn't it?
Should have been a assist, I guess. Yeah. But it wasn't on target, so I don't know what happened there.
No, I don't know what happened there either. No, I saw that one. I thought it was naff as well. But, you know, he's a 90-minute player. He's played 90 minutes in every game so far this season. So, I don't know. There's a chance he might be on penalties as well, but I think unlikely. Just to have to...
I don't know.
If Paqueta's out...
who else would take it? If Paqueta's out, I think he will be.
So maybe they'll get a penalty this weekend.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'm not sure about Bowen. I was really keen on him last week, and obviously that's why I got him. I just felt he and Watkins just seemed good value, and they were doing well. But maybe I don't know. I need to give him a few weeks in my team and see if I like him.
It's the second game in a row that they've been pretty bad. They were pretty bad in Europa in midweek as well. So. In a loss against, I don't even know who it was.
I think it was Olympiakos.
Okay, sure, yeah. So they're a fairly good team, I suppose, but they apparently, listening to like the Totally Football podcast and stuff like that, they just said that West Ham were just pretty insipid. So
it doesn't bode well. Yeah, I'll give him a couple more weeks, and he might be out of there. I'll just talk about Brighton actually, because you know they're another team who I were really interested in, but ahead of this big fixture run which we've spoken about for weeks now, and you know I'm surprised. Well, maybe I'm not surprised, but there hasn't been that much clamour about getting any of their assets, and I think that's because it's hard to pin down who to get for this run. I mean, they obviously had Fulham at the weekend, drew 1-1. It was Ferguson, wasn't it, who got the goal and a couple of bonus points.
Yep.
But I don't know about what's your take on Brighton as a team at the moment. Are you interested in them at all?
I was talking in our chat about possibly Pedro as like a replacement for Alvarez moving forward. And yeah, he I was pretty sure he'd start this game, and he got benched, didn't he? So yeah, I don't know. There seems to be so many injuries that they should be playing, and he still was benched. Ferguson, he had that hat trick, and he hasn't really done much else. I don't know. I'm not really keen on getting him, and I don't really feel like he's going to haul in any games. So yeah, apart from Matoma, who I guess it just ticks along. Maybe Estepinian, now that he's probably fit, you'd guess, at least close to being. And obviously this fixture run is pretty good for them. So yeah, they're just a bit of a funk, aren't they?
Yeah, big time. I mean, that, like you say about their fixture run being good. So up until Christmas, it's Everton away this weekend, Sheffield United at home, which is the banker fixture, then it's Forest and Chelsea away, Brentford and Burnley back-to-back at home, Arsenal away and Crystal Palace. So, the fixtures are fantastic. But like I mentioned earlier, a bit like maybe Newcastle are experiencing and maybe West Ham, I think for a team like Brighton, it's their first time in Europe. And definitely recently they don't seem to be coping with it, and the injuries are piling up. So they managed an XG of 1.3 versus Fulham. The season average over the previous 9 games has been over 2 per game. So there was a big drop-off this weekend, and obviously that was on the back of a Europa League night. And even in the sort of most recent 5 game weeks 1 to 5, they were averaging 2.27 XG per game. In game week 6 to 10, 1.6. So, I mean, they dropped that by nearly 30 or 40% in the last sort of 5 game weeks, and no clean sheets all season, so it's difficult to warrant any investment there. I just think it's funny situation with them, really, because the fixtures make it look like it's a great time to get their form back.
Yeah.
But I don't trust them or their players that much now.
Nope.
And like you say, Ferguson, he started 3 in the league, but in that time he's not in the top 20 for the XG, despite him scoring at the weekend. And in the last 4 game weeks that we've looked at, that the expected points is low. Dunk leads that for 16 points, but that's just 4 points per game. Matoma's next best with 14.5, so that's like an average of like 3 and a bit, 3.75 points per game. So yeah, it's a funny one, really. I feel like their fixtures are good, but maybe their players and their team form is definitely not.
Yeah, it's kind of a reason why I'm reluctant to sell like a Maddison, because Matoma, Bowen, Gordon, those sort of cheaper ones that I can go down to, just with the sort of fixture swings, aren't really doing much right now. That I'm not really confident in any of them. So, maybe Mbeumo back or something like that. But so at the moment, I think it's just I'm keeping Maddison because I'm not confident on players like these.
Yeah, no, totally with you. All right, do we want to talk about? Shall I mention Nketiah and talk about him a little bit? Because
sure.
It's funny, really. Again, I feel like I made a mistake by just doing my transfers late last week or doing my transfers early, and was because I was so keen for weeks to get Watkins and Bowen. But things happened last week which would have been good to know. Like Isaac got injured and Wilson means he became available. Jesus got injured, meaning Nketiah. I didn't even realise Nketiah is just like 5.6 million. He could have been such a good Morris replacement, and I just left Son and Mbeumo and just, I don't know, tried not to have Watkins. I think the pressure to have someone like Watkins has been really high, though. I think it's
definitely.
I think if his ownership at 42% now, I think not having him seems crazy. So addressing that was a bit of a priority.
If you scored those 2 big chances, you would have probably been happy enough with the transfers. I guess.
Exactly. Yeah. So, dig. Anyway, so just on Nketiah then. So Arteta said he didn't want to put pressure on Jesus to return, and typically hamstring injuries could be 6 game weeks, which would lead roughly up to game week 15. That's when Arsenal play away at Luton. So in that time, Nketiah's got, I appreciate it's difficult this weekend, Newcastle away, Burnley at home, which is going to be juicy, Brentford away, which would be, all right, Wolves at home, again, bit mixed. But 5.6 million, he's quite a low risk punt. And I didn't realise until I checked, he's actually played in every game this season. He started 7 of the 10. Obviously, Jesus was injured at the start of the season as well, which is why he's had quite a lot of starts. But he's got 7 returns in those games, obviously boosted by the big mega haul hat trick. But he's tied points wise with Darwin now. And looking at his stats per 90 minutes, they're not bad. He's 9th for XG with 0.35, and he's 3rd for shots in the box with 3.7. So fairly decent for like what is effectively a 5.6 million starting striker in an Arsenal team for at least the next 4 game weeks. It might be longer. I mean, Jesus wasn't rushed back, and Arteta sort of implied he didn't want to rush him back.
I think I saw that Jesus is like going to be out till like January possibly.
Really?
So he's probably going to miss like
longer.
At least 6 fixtures, I think they said, for Arsenal. He's going to miss. So yeah, Nketiah, solid option. It probably would have been great for you. That would have helped your rank for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we said to our friend George in our chat as well that I think I said to him that I thought Jesus was going to be back imminently, and he probably isn't a good option. But I guess that's no longer the case. And yeah, he obviously is a good option. It could be somewhere I could go from someone Alvarez to get an Arsenal player. Obviously, I'm not going to sell Alvarez this week with head of Bournemouth, but after that possibly. I haven't got Arsenal yet, and he seems like someone who keeps chipping away, I suppose. It did come to pass that like Nketiah with Martinelli seems to be worse with Nketiah, so that wasn't any returns for him. I was happy that Saka only got the 1 assist, considering I didn't get him in the end. But how do you see this Newcastle Arsenal game going?
That's a good question. It's a good question.
I mean, obviously, with like Burn and stuff like that, I'm saying like the fixtures are bad, but then I expect Arsenal to score, right?
Yeah.
But then I'm not thinking of bringing in Arsenal in because I think it's a tough fixture.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I kind of think Arsenal will score too, but I don't think it's going to be high scoring. Like I wouldn't be. Arsenal got such a good away record, but then I just can't. I can't see them keeping. My general feeling with Newcastle this season, like I say, I haven't watched loads of games at St James's Park, but I get the impression it would be hard for them to not score. Like I said, they haven't not scored at home in any of their games so far this season, and they scored against City in the Carabao Cup. Kind of think it's going to be a low scoring game. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 1-1, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, something like that seems likely, doesn't it? That both teams' defenses are good, but their attacks are good enough to at least get something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds about right. So probably benching of most Newcastle defenders aren't Trippier, and then just play your Arsenal attackers and hope for the best.
Yeah. I'm kind of excited about. Well, I'm interested in Gordon this week because like all of his. I think he's got 7 returns so far this season. 5 of them have all been at home. And I kind of think this is a good weekend just to... He obviously played in the Champions League game and he could have hauled in that Dortmund game. So I kind of think if he was getting that level of chances against Arsenal, and I imagine Arsenal are going to have most of the ball and they're going to try and play on the break a little bit, then let's see. But it should be interesting.
Yeah, I can see Gordon be the only goal scorer on a break. Could see that happen.
Yeah. All right. Is there any more you want to chit chat about, or want to do a bit of a team preview?
Just for defence quickly. Tsimikas, something I'm thinking about getting in. 4.6 million. Good price from all my defence and most people's replacements for. So 2 clean sheets for them, 2 starts. The fixture swing obviously started, and the clean sheets have as well, like we saw with Trippier in their fixture swing. His stats aren't amazing or anything, but we know he's obviously got good potential. Very attacking. Liverpool team played 90 last week, played like 70-ish, I think it was in the one before that. So he can get subbed out around that time for a clean sheet, which is decent. Robertson out for like about 10 plus weeks, so he's got about good 8 weeks left in him, I think. He seems to be rotating for the Europa games and seems to be playing the Premier League. So yeah, looks like a good option.
And of course, he's come in and just got like back-to-back clean sheets as well. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. And their fixtures, are, like you said, still really good, I think, for clean sheets. Yep. Is it Luton this weekend? Is that right?
Yes, Luton away, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about captaincy in a minute. But yeah, no, I think Tsimikas is looking really good. Are you thinking about taking Gabriel out then? I mean, for people
Like I said, I
I
was thinking about burnout because I was thinking Gabriel's probably, at least I hope, he'll play this week and then the coming fixtures. But like, yeah, with him being an issue again, deja vu of game week 1. I didn't have him then, but like I do now.
Yeah.
And you would think he's gonna play the hard games, I guess, but that's what you don't want your defenders to be benched.
Exactly.
In obviously the easy games, but then I've got him in, and after Newcastle they've got easy games, so they've got Brentford, Burnley, Wolves, Luton, and Luton, like those 4. Like I want to be playing Gabriel in every one of those games, but
do you think
maybe it is just a run already and get someone else for him.
Do you think
just try and get like maybe a White eventually?
I was going to say that. Do you see any like value in upgrading Gabriel to another Arsenal defender, or do you think that's too sideways? Do you think Gabriel or not Gabriel, Saliba or White are...
Yeah, I think those two are definitely good options. Saliba maybe not so much because his attacking threat doesn't seem to be a lot, but the White seems to be ticking along most weeks. Getting he had a really nice shot saved the other week. So I think White's going to keep ticking along. I think he is good value for sure. And then Stones, I think I mentioned in our chat. I think Stones is back now in that sort of midfield domination role of with Rodri and looked really good against United. Yeah. So that seems to be their preferred sort of formation. And now that he is back, they're probably going to keep dominating in games, I think. So this Bournemouth one looks good for Stones, that's for sure. And then basically all those games look decent enough for clean sheets, I think.
No, I like it. Yeah, no, I like it. I think there's a lot feels like a lot could change in defence just because of the fixtures, really.
Yeah,
cool. All right. Do you want to talk about our teams and plans for the week? All right, I'll bring up your team first.
Okay.
Got the vice captaincy of DRB, of course, after his big hole.
It'll probably go on Salah, but I think I just did it because the app shoots Salah off to the right side when you put Vice on him for some reason.
Oh, right.
And it just ruins my color coordination. So it's like that for now.
Talking of captaincy, have you got any? Is there any shred of you that wants to go Salah this weekend?
No,
okay,
not really.
Haaland.
I mean, like if Haaland didn't exist in a universe somewhere else, like 100% he'd be captain, but. It's Haaland, and his EO. Everyone's going to captain this week. It's stupid not to. I don't think.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So obviously happy with Alvarez this week at least. Watkins and everyone. It's just whether I take out a Maddison maybe, and then what do I do with one of my defenders to possibly Simicast really?
Or Stones.
Or Stones or a White. Like it would have to be Maddison down to somewhere, but like who is the question? I guess I would go maybe Matoma.
So what's the sort of value or budget you'd have to get to? I don't know. Who is it? You say who are you going to get rid of? Sorry, Gabriel.
Probably Maddison, and then I guess Gabriel, and then so Maddison down to. I'm doing it live right now. Down to 6.5. Matoma gives me 6.1 in the bank, so I could get a Stones, I could get a Saliba, could get a White. So there's options.
Interesting. Well, do you think you're going to do that, or you that's just like a maybe?
No, I think I'm probably going to keep Maddison, and I'm probably just going to do. I guess Gabriel to Simicast, and then either play Udogi or just play Taylor.
I was going to say, any chance you play Taylor over Gabriel anyway?
Yeah, over Gabriel. I don't know.
Oh, what about those Taylor bench points as well? He'd not scored in like 199 games or something.
Funny, isn't it? I never get bench jam as well, and that was I needed that. Thank God.
Big one. No, I think it looks good for this weekend. I think Alvarez and Haaland at home to Bournemouth just looks nice this weekend. Hopefully
hopefully he can get something again.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. To be honest, the team still looks an absolute mess with Botman and Bell with their huge red flags. What are we thinking? So Areola, Anderson, I quite like as a nice pick this week because I think Burnley might be a good fixture for them. Cash, obviously Udogi with that orange flag. I think the rest of the front line is is fine really. Haaland captain. I think Brentford away is a good fixture for Bowen. No, it's not a great fixture, but I think Gordon definitely start against Arsenal, and I do expect them to score. So there's a chance he could be involved. But I don't know about him yet. Like he was my Morris alternative to afford being able to get the other players in. So might be better off just banking that extra 6 million of 0.6 and getting someone like Palmer in a few weeks or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, let's see how I feel about Gordon.
You sneaky possibly don't have a bench at all because Archer didn't start the last
didn't
game.
Even start. I know.
But he did come on, didn't he? So I think he's still going to get minutes. And I think Brewster was pretty terrible, so I think Archer will probably get it back.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What are you going to do if Udogi's not fit?
I'm not sure. I feel like I need to get rid of Botman because he's not back soon. I might get Simicast. Yeah, just think if I get Simicast, I'm not sure which player I'm going to get rid of to get Saliba or White.
So just get Botman to Arsenal.
Yeah, maybe because I quite like Anderson's long-term fixtures, and I trust their defense. He's going to play, all the games, and he's a threat from set pieces. So I don't mind him, and I got him at a decent price. It's gone up to 5 million now.
Yeah, I know. I saw that on. Yeah, crazy.
I think because he's just like near the top of the defenders list, he's going to be quite popular when he does well. And he's going to just keep getting price rises.
Yeah, I don't think I'd tell anyone to buy him now. I think 5 million is too much for him.
I agree. Yeah. But their fixtures are good. They've got Burnley, Everton, Luton, West Ham, and Bournemouth in the next sort of 5. So I feel comfortable playing him in all those games, to be honest.
Gahey or Mitchell at 4.5 seems just as good.
No, I agree. Yeah. I've got enough money to do Botman, Saliba, and obviously I could just do Bell to Charlie.
Can you get White or not? You can't afford that.
No, don't think so. I might be really boring and just this week do Bell to Charlie Taylor if Bell's still out, because then I've definitely got a playing player.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's just such a boring transfer.
That you don't have 2 free transfers either.
No, I don't have 2 free transfers. And I'm
use one on that is not fun.
And I just feel like I'm going to play most of my front 7 for like the next few weeks, so I don't really need to touch any of them unless they get injured. So I may as well try and clear, as I have been doing all this season, is try and sort out like a defender injury.
Usually you don't want to do any defensive transfers, and you happen to be
to leave it. I want to make attacking transfers, but when first time I did do attacking transfers last weekend, it big backfired. Anyway, no, I'm not. To be honest, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. I'll either do Bell to Taylor, probably that, or Botman to Saliba and just get him a week early. That will leave me with hardly any money. So, yeah, some decision to be made, but I'm not sure which way to go just yet.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Right, have we got any questions in the chat? Someone's put about.
Bulldog's back, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, like Jama mentioned it earlier about the Jesus news. Archer to Nketiah in game week 12 moves up the list. Like I could quite easily not roll this week, but maybe make a -4 next week. That I change Gordon to a 4.5 and I change Archer to Nketiah. Maybe Arsenal's starting centre forward is better value than having Gordon in my team. So something to think about.
Yeah,
but it just
certainly could be.
It just seems such a waste to transfer to like -4. I've only just got him. Don't know.
Yeah, it feels like you're struggling for funds. Like your team value might be a bit low.
It's like 102.2 or something. It's absolutely. I see people.
Is pretty low.
I see people like posting their like 103.8, and I'm like, Jesus, how have you got that already?
Yeah,
suffering. Oh well, it is what it is. Right, I think should we wrap up there? Unless there's any more juicy stuff to add.
Yeah, all good.
Super. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back next week to talk about. It's going to be game week 12 already. Nearly a third of the way through the season.
Indeed.
Super. All right. Well, cheers everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah. Thanks all.
Bye.